The Unspoken is such a good film and genuinely quite scary. As a big horror fan, it takes a lot to scare me, but this really worked. And I think one of the main reasons for that is on multiple occasions, we had back-to-back jump scares. And I'm surprised that not that many films seem to do this, at least with the horror films that I've seen. We'll often have a jump scare, and then we'll have a couple of moments to let our heart rate come back down again. But with this one, there are quite a few times when we have a jump scare and then immediately after another jump scare. Not all of the time, but quite frequently. And it is so effective. The film was released in 2015. It's written and directed by Sheldon Wilson. And we have a cast including Jodelle Ferland as Angela and Suljic as Adrian. And I apologise if I've mispronounced that. We also have Pascale Hutton, Anthony Konechny, Jonathan Whitesell, and various others. And the performances are very, very good. Jodelle Ferland plays a character called Angela, and when this family move into this house that had been abandoned for quite some time, she looks after their 9-year-old son, Adrian, and the house has a bit of a history. Many years ago, something happened where the family disappeared, and ever since then there have, of course, as one can imagine, been a lot of rumours and speculation about what dark things had happened inside this home. And now that Angela is looking after Adrian there, things start to happen in the house. Dark and suspenseful things. Yes, a lot of it relies on jump scares, but it's jump scare after jump scare, and it is so effective and genuinely quite scary that I absolutely loved it. I thought in terms of being a horror, it was fantastic. Very suspenseful, very, very well executed. There were a couple of times when they maybe tried a little bit too hard to give the narrative too many layers. There were just a few small aspects of the narrative that weren't as well written as I would have liked, a few loose threads, but in general, everything made enough sense. It's definitely not predictable, which I really liked. The characters are very well written. The performances are brilliant. The house itself is nice as a property. I think it looks quite eerie, but it also looks like a family has just moved in there as well. It doesn't look completely run down or anything. I think it has a nice mix of looking creepy, but also looking like, yes, somebody could be living in this house, as indeed is the case. So, nice design of the property. Some really good effects. Definitely very scary because jump scares are... Ordinarily, I prefer psychological twisty, dark horror. And that's not to say there's absolutely none of that here, but in general, that's my kind of horror. I like those moments where we find out some information and it just makes the blood drain from our faces. Jump scares in general are not that effective for me, but back-to-back jump scares like this work so well that if you can recommend any other films that really go heavy on the jump scares like that, please let me know. I don't want my heart rate to go back down. I don't want the horror to lessen. I know that it's sometimes important so that we're not completely on edge, but as I'm sure many horror fans will agree, it gets harder and harder to become scared the more you watch. And I want to be on edge for the bulk of the film. Yes, we need those calmer moments to develop the narrative, but as this film shows, you can have a generally well-written story while still having a lot of key horror moments as well. And gruesome, there were a couple of really gory, horrible moments that made me wince as well, that are also very well done. So all things considered, while the narrative may not be the tightest in a few places, I still think The Unspoken is a fabulous film. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. And needless to say, I'm very happy to recommend it.